In this video, I'm going to walk you through 10 ways to repurpose your webinar. We'll cover how to turn your webinar into a blog article, social media posts, ebook or a guide, FAQ page, short clips, podcast, quotes, infographic, YouTube video, and a newsletter. One thing before we dive in, because I'll basically say this 10 times in different words throughout the video, some webinar platforms like Contrast Webinars have the repurposing feature built in, and the advantage to use this feature inside your webinar platform is that it saves you a lot of time and it typically has more context than if you just export the webinar transcript. If your webinar platform doesn't have this feature, we recommend you to use Claude in combination with your webinar transcript. For all the examples in this video, I'll show you both options. First, I'll show you how to repurpose your webinar using Contrast Webinars' Repurpose AI feature. And the second option is going to be how to repurpose your webinar using Claude. Let's go. First up, we have the blog article, how to turn your session into an actual blog post. So if you're using Contrast Webinars, open your webinar and on the right side, you have the Repurpose AI feature. Click on the blog article to turn the webinar into a blog post. And it may take a few seconds to generate your blog article. Once it's ready, you need to check it out and you can use the chat to make some changes. For example, you want to change the tone. You can just ask the AI to change the tone to more casual and conversational. And it will follow your instructions and it will make the changes that you requested. Here you go. You can see that it changed the tone of my blog article. Now, if you're using a webinar platform that doesn't have the built-in repurposing feature, you need to grab your webinar transcript. If you don't know how to get your webinar transcript, I do have a separate video covering this. Go check it out first. Once you get your webinar transcript, create a project in Claude if you're running webinars consistently and will need these repurposing prompts and instructions over again. Or if it's just a one-time thing for you, just use the chat inside Claude. In this example, I'll show you how to create a project for repurposing your webinar into a blog article. I already have my project ready here, but if you are creating a new project, just click on the projects and on the right side, you have the new project button. Click on it, give it a name and click create project. Once you created your project, you will need to add some instructions that Claude will follow every time you are asking it to do something inside this project. I already have my instructions ready here. Here I'm going to just add it so you can see. I'll drop it in the description of this video so you can copy it. It includes the structure, the SEO instructions, tone, and everything I need to get a ready to post blog article. Now that our instructions are saved, you can upload your webinar transcript here. Click the plus button, add files, choose your webinar transcript, click open, and then here you need to tell Claude what to do with it. So I'm going to tell it generate a blog article from this webinar following the instructions provided in this project. Let's go. If you have any specific keywords you want to include in this article, you can mention it in the prompt. I don't have anything specific for now, that's why I didn't mention anything. From here, it's the same as any draft. You read it and fix whatever sounds off. You can see that it kept the structure I mentioned in my instructions. And once you want to publish it, just make sure you also take some pictures from your slides or some screenshots from your webinar recording. So it's not text only, like text heavy article. Now let's move on to the second use case, which is how to turn a webinar into a social media post. We can actually use the same playbook for this one with some small changes. Open your webinar in Contrast Webinars and in the Repurpose AI part, click on the LinkedIn post. Then it's going to start generating your LinkedIn post. And again, if you don't like anything, use the chat to make the changes. You can see that it generated 3 LinkedIn posts for me. I can just grab some screenshots from my webinar and post it on LinkedIn. Now, the second option is to generate the social media posts with Claude. I actually created another project for this one. You already know how to create a project, so follow the same steps and just change the instructions. I'll drop this instruction as well so you can use it. Now let's go ahead and drop our webinar transcript. And give it a very simple prompt, generate a LinkedIn post from this webinar following the instructions provided in this project. Let's go. If you don't like the output that Claude gave you, you can always use the chat to make some changes. For example, you know that inside your webinar, you mentioned some numbers and you want to build a post, like a LinkedIn post, included those numbers. Yeah, you can use the chat and say, include the numbers that were mentioned in the webinar. And from here, it's going to scan the transcript again, find the moments where you're mentioning any numbers, and give you a different LinkedIn post. Let's scroll down to see the actual post. And you can see that it scanned everything and found like 2 or 3 numbers, and it included those numbers inside my LinkedIn post. And now let's move on to the third use case, which is creating an ebook or a guide from your webinar. Again, with contrast webinars, you open your webinar. In the Repurpose AI section, you click on the Ask AI button and then give it this prompt. You'll have all the prompts under the description of this video, don't worry. To make it faster, I'm just dropping the prompt and I'm not reading the whole thing because this one is a bit longer. It is more detailed because we need the whole guide, a whole ebook from one webinar. So we want to make sure we are very specific and we mention what we need. It took us less than 30 seconds to generate this guide. It includes sections like what problem this is solving, the target audience, table of contents, and the actual guide starts from here. It is very detailed and it follows the structure of our webinar. We can use this to publish in our blog, or we can create a downloadable asset from this guide. Now, if you are doing this with Claude, the procedure is basically the same. Let's go to Claude. This time I'm gonna just use the chat. Upload your webinar transcript again. Then drop the prompt that you used inside contrast webinars. This was the prompt I was using there, and click enter. You can see Claude generated a very detailed guide which includes 18 pages, so it's super detailed directly from our webinar transcript. Let's scroll down to see what we have. We have the table of contents, and it broke it down to chapters. It also broke down the information into tables, bullet points, so it's easy to read. But one thing we don't like here is the branding. So in my prompt, I didn't mention what my brand colors are, and I didn't include my logo. So I'm gonna do it now and see how Claude is gonna change this same guide into a more branded guide for contrast webinars. Let's see. So I'm gonna ask it to change the colors to my brand colors. I'm mentioning a few brand colors and see how it's gonna pick from it. And I'm gonna also attach my logo here. Let's enter this prompt and see how it's gonna change the whole playbook. This already looks very good to me. It added my logo in the top right corner for every page. It changed all the colors and used only my brand colors. All I need to do is to add some visuals here. It is super detailed. It has 18 pages, which includes all the key takeaways, examples, frameworks, and all the actionable steps from my webinar, which actually might be hard to follow in a video format for some people, because not everyone wants to watch an hour-long webinar, right? And a guide like this lets people scan and jump to what they need, especially when we have a table of content like this. They can just check it out and jump to the section that they want. Now let's move on and go to our fourth use case, which is turning the webinar Q&A into an FAQ page. This one is kind of ready content because live Q&A is already in question and answer format. You are barely repurposing anything here. You are just cleaning it up. So go to Contrast Webinars, open your webinar, and ask the Repurpose AI agent to turn your webinar Q&A into an FAQ page. So I have my prompt ready, click enter, and it's going to start generating your FAQ page. Here you go, you have the FAQ page ready. You can just copy it and publish it wherever you want. I can even go to my webinar recording and grab some nice screenshots from my webinar from the Q&A. So here you can see this is one question, another question. I can just take screenshots from those and add it to my page. The process is very similar if you are using Claude. Go to Claude, open a new chat, upload the transcript, Drop the prompt here, click enter, and it's going to generate your FAQ page. You can see it gave me a similar result, but now I want to go into more details and give it more instructions. I want it to be more specific, use only the real questions, and even like change them a little bit if needed. Let's see how it's going to change. You may ask why we are turning our Q&A section into an FAQ page. While Claude is generating my FAQ page, I'll answer this question. So direct answers to these real questions you got during your webinar can give AI search tools some useful content to reference when these tools are answering similar queries. You can even turn some of the questions that were repeated a lot into a standalone blog post or sections of existing articles. So let's check out what it did. I can again go to my webinar recording, grab some nice visuals from there and add it to the FAQ page. Now let's move to the fifth use case, which is getting short clips for Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and LinkedIn. This is actually the use case where having a webinar platform that does it natively actually matters a lot because you are dealing with real video, not just the text. If you're using contrast webinars, it's again built in. You just open your webinar and click on clips right here. It auto detects the strongest moments and exports them already cropped for vertical and sized for whichever platform you are posting to. Here you can see you can change the layout to landscape and portrait. You can even add some branded subtitles or turn the subtitles off and download any of the clips directly from your webinar platform. Or if you don't have the moment that you want it to clip, you can still get it from the transcript. Here you can see we have the whole webinar transcript, and you can just select any part you want and clip it. Here you go. I have the new clip and download it. If your webinar platform doesn't support this, unfortunately, you cannot use Claude to cut the video clips, but we can use Claude to actually get the viral moments. So again, we're going to use the webinar transcript, and we're going to ask Claude to find the moments that are worth cutting. So let's give it our transcript. And we're going to ask Claude to look at the transcript and give us 5 strongest standalone moments for short form video. Let's give it a try. You can see that it suggested 5 short clip ideas from my transcript. So it actually mentioned the exact transcript, so it's easier for me to identify those parts and cut them. Now I'm going to get my webinar recording and then upload it to a video editing tool. For this example, I'm going to use vid.io. You can use any video editing tool you want. Then I'm going to cut those parts. You can see I already have them. I'm going to auto resize them for whichever platform I want to post, add captions, and then post it on social media. Now let's move to the 6th use case, which is turning the webinar into an actual podcast episode. This is actually very easy to do. You need to go to your webinar platform and download your webinar recording. Make sure your webinar platform supports local recording, because if you want to create a podcast using your webinars, you need to make sure your video and audio quality is very high, which only happens when your webinar platform provides local recording. Here you can see I have the local recording from every speaker, so I can use those for my podcast. Once you have your webinar recording, open Spotify, then create a podcast and upload the episodes right here. You need to select the file, give your episode a name, a description, then upload a thumbnail or choose a moment from the webinar itself. You can even use your webinar cover here. Then you can check out the settings here and upload your episode. If you don't want to upload a video to Spotify, you can use video editing tools to extract the audio from your webinar and upload that instead. Now, use case number 7, which is pulling quotes from the webinars. With contrast webinars, it's again super easy. You just open your webinar, go to repurpose AI part, and there is a button that says best quotes. Click on it, and it's going to suggest you all the best quotes from your webinar. Here you go. You have all the quotes from the webinar. Now, if you're using Claude for this, let's open Claude. Open a new chat. We're going to again add the transcript here and give it a prompt. I'm going to ask it to pull from 6 to 10 quotable one-liners from the transcript, and let's see what it does. What we have got at this point is just text. You can see that we have a lot of quotes from this webinar, but it's just a text. To actually make it a quote card, you can drop it into Canva, or if you have a template, branded template, you can just grab the quotes from here and add it to your template and prepare branded quote cards. But what I actually want to do is to try it in Claude. So I'm going to add another prompt here, asking it to turn those quotes into social media quote cards. You can see I forgot to upload my logo. So I'm going to just upload it now. Here, my logo is here. Click enter, and let's see how it's going to generate our quote cards. Now let's see what we got. So I can already see that it's using all my brand colors, and it added my logo. I would add the speaker's image right here next to the name, but that's just a small change. Overall, I'm very happy with the cards and with the quotes that it got from my transcript. Now I can just get all these cards, the quote cards, and turn it into a LinkedIn carousel. Now that we got our quote cards, let's move to the next use case, which is turning webinars into infographics. We're going to actually use Claude for this one too, because as you can see, it's pretty good at visuals. So let's open a new chat. And for this one, we're going to actually need the webinar transcript, the chat transcript, and poll answers, because we want as many information as we can from the webinar in order to turn it into a nice infographic. So let's upload all the files. I'm going to click add a file. Then this is the transcript and the poll results. And I also have the chat transcript right here. And we're going to give it the prompt and instructions. Again, you can create a project if you are doing webinars consistently, but if it's just a one-time thing, just use the chat. Oh, it's actually telling me that I uploaded the wrong chat and poll answers. So let's go to contrast and get the chat messages and the right poll answers right inside contrast. Now let's go back. I'll mention I'll upload the correct ones. Here, this is one, and this is the second one. I'm very curious to see how it's going to handle the infographic. I think we have enough information and enough numbers to share from this webinar. That's why I chose this webinar. Let's see how it's going to arrange everything. This is what Claude generated for us from our webinar transcript, poll answers, and also the chat messages. You can see we have a lot of numbers here, and we can use those to post on social media, blog article, or emails or newsletters. Here you can see nice visuals of the polls. We even have some quotes from the live chat, which is really cool. And you can see it's using all the colors, all my brand colors that I uploaded and I asked it to use. The only thing I would change here is the font to match our branding, and I would add a logo in the top right corner. The rest looks good. Now let's move to the use case number 9, which is getting the full recording of your webinar into YouTube. For this, we need to go to our webinar platform. So I'm going to open Contrast Webinars, open your webinar and download the recording. Make sure you remove the awkward silences from the beginning of the webinar. Then there is also one thing that's very important before we upload anything to YouTube. Make sure you have the thumbnail created. You can have a custom thumbnail for YouTube, or you can even use your webinar cover. For my case, I'm going to use my webinar cover for YouTube. Then once you got everything, go to your YouTube studio, click on Create button, then Upload Videos. Select your file, give it a name and description. Let's change the name Then I'm going to also add the description. You can see I have timestamps in my webinar description. Adding those timestamps is actually very important because it improves viewer satisfaction. It actually boosts search engine visibility, and viewers can skip straight to the exact part they need instead of searching through a long video. And because I'm using contrast for my webinars, it actually shows me all the chapters, as you can see, and I can just grab the info from contrast and paste it directly to YouTube. And it's very easy to add them. You just need to grab the time codes and titles into your video's description box inside YouTube. You can see the format here. And that's it. You're good to go. You just need to click next and upload your video. The last use case we have is to turn your webinar into a newsletter. With contrast webinars, it's super easy. The repurposing panel already gives you a newsletter ready draft. You just click on the newsletter, and it's going to give you everything. The subject line, section breaks, all set up. You just need to take this copy and send it to your list. You can see that it gave me everything I need, all the numbers and everything that's important that it's mentioned in the webinar. All I need to do is to add some visuals here, which I can grab from my webinar recording or from my slides, and it's good to go. But you can also use Claude for this. So let me open Claude and open a new chat. Again, we're going to use the webinar transcript. Give it a detailed prompt, click enter, and it's going to start generating our newsletter. In my prompt, I asked Claude to add 5 subject lines from which I can select one. So you can see it added 5 options for me. Then we have the newsletter itself and some CTA options. And with this, we have 10 pieces of content out of one webinar recording. With the right repurposing workflow, you can turn a single session into a month of content. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.